Digital disruption in the UAE with dubizzle.
The latest buzz in the world of technology and innovation with the UAE's latest homegrown unicorn.
With more and more businesses here in the region going digital and enhancing their online presence as a result of the pandemic, we're going to give you some advice on how to ensure you have the right people on the job to take your company forward in this post-COVID or the post-COVID era once we get there. The people that will be able to proffer us that advice are, of course, the crew at Bayut and dubizzle. HR Director at Bayut and dubizzle is Suzanne Gandy, who joins us now live on the line, but also live on Microsoft Teams. Good morning, Suzanne.
Good morning, Tom. Thank you for having me.
Not at all. Now, obviously, something we've been talking about a lot on the Business Breakfast over the course of the last 18 months is technology, and the fact that it really is being sent into overdrive for businesses at the moment. I mean, in terms of the pace of technology and the impact it's having on businesses, is it more and more vital to have the right people in the right places?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's also key to making sure that once you get those great people into your organization, you give them the opportunity to continuously upskill, and you've got to retain them. So that's the main challenge, I would say now.
It's interesting you use the word upskill there, because it's something that, again, we had an idea about, didn't we, sort of before the pandemic, but now we're hearing it time and time again. How important is upskilling?
It's incredibly important because obviously, especially in the technology industry, you can quickly become irrelevant because of the competitive environment, especially here in the UAE. The UAE government has been very much in favor of promoting small startups and the whole tech industry. And so it means that we have to really make sure that we have the best minds, the best problem solvers. And in order to do that, you have to continuously upskill your workforce in order to stay ahead of all your competition.
Talking of the workforce and how you make up or the makeup of that workforce at the moment, given what we've been through as businesses and individuals in the last 18 months, are there still opportunities out there for young professionals, those that have missed out on sort of workplace experience for the last 18 months?
Absolutely. I mean, here at dubizzle and Bayut, we have a strong drive right now towards getting interns into the organization. But also, when we come to our assessment process for permanent roles in our organization, we don't necessarily look at where someone's worked before or the experience they bring. We actually look more at their commitment to work, to work in a thriving tech ecosystem, that they're aligned to our core values of innovation, ownership, and honest good work. And so we look more towards skills and competencies over experience. So for those people who are in the process of moving from university into the workforce, those really great young minds, they're the ones that we're very, very keen to bring on board.
So how do you, well, as a potential candidate, but equally as a potential employer, how do you identify that right candidate? Is it still a case of the traditional old CV going straight into the inbox?
It's a needle in a haystack right now, Tom. So we get about 12,000 applications per month. And so, yes, of course, CV is important, but there's lots of other ways of getting in contact with companies through social media and using more innovative and slightly more out there ways rather than just a traditional CV. However, the traditional CV is something that we obviously rely on when it comes to people applying through our career websites. And we then use extensive AI to make sure that we can channel down those great, talented people from the 12,000 to the one perfect person who walks through the door. And that's not just about the CV. We have video interviewing, we have technical assessments, we have competency assessments. And we really, really want to give our young, great minds a chance in our organization. So we're very much more towards what skills they can bring, what their mindset is, and if they're really willing to be part of this thriving organization.
We know, and you don't have to go far to find stories about just how competitive the tech domain is at the moment. Just how tough is it to find the right talent, or more specifically, what about looking at it from the other angle, and how important is it to retain it given the competition out there?
Tom, that's a really good question, because we think that the challenge might be to find the right talent, but actually, realistically, here in the UAE, the challenge is to retain the right talent. And so it's now more than, the perks and the salary. Today's environment is one where you have to provide people a place for collaboration, meaningful work, where ideas are trusted and respected and valued, and ultimately where, it's okay to make a mistake, because it's not actually a mistake, it's just an experiment. So we go, okay, well, that didn't work, let's try something else. And it's creating that sort of environment is where people feel safe and cared for. That's how you retain your employees.
And just to pick up again, I'm getting quite a few text messages through on this one about the sort of the screening process at the moment, with a lot of recruitment taking place online as well. Does that mean that the actual sort of recruitment policy, it's not just a question of turning up now, meeting the CEO and getting a job that you start tomorrow at 8:30? There is a longer recruitment process.
Yeah, we have extensive due diligence through our recruitment process with many steps. And we even have to sort of give people a heads up about it at the beginning of the process, that this is not a simple, like you said, a quick meet with the CEO and you're in through the door. We go through the screening of people's technical capabilities. And that is quite the test, where really only about 25% of people even get through that first initial test. And then we have further assessments, competency assessments. And then, of course, we do more cultural assessments as well. And then, of course, each time we're using a mixture of technology and human interaction to make sure that ultimately we find the right person. So I would say, for those people out there who are looking for a role in sort of these forward-thinking tech organizations, is be a little bit prepared for a prolonged recruitment experience, because ultimately we want to make sure that the person who walks through the door is the person that stays and can really move our organization to new heights.
Suzanne, lovely chatting with you this morning. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Suzanne Gandy is the HR Director for Bayut and dubizzle, joining us live on Microsoft Teams with some great advice.
This is the Business Breakfast on Dubai.